This video we're going to look at the transformation rotation. Okay, so here we have an example of a typical rotation question that you could get on your paper. First off, it's asking us to rotate the shape P here, which is a triangle, by 90 degrees clockwise about the origin. Okay, so there's a couple of key bits that I've highlighted there. Firstly, 90 degrees you should be aware of having done angles, and clockwise, hopefully you also remember, is the way that the clock runs, okay, which is this way around here. Okay, so the other thing it's asking us to do is to rotate it about the origin. So first things first, I'm going to mark on this point the origin. Now, if you remember, the origin is where these axes start, down here. Okay, so I'm just going to mark that with a cross. Okay, so next for a rotation question, you should ask for some tracing paper if you don't already have some on the table, because this can only be done with tracing paper. So, going to put some tracing paper up. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to, on the tracing paper, just mark on this triangle on my tracing paper, making sure that my point here with the X here, my origin, is also over the tracing paper. So I'm going to draw this triangle P using a ruler, making real sure that my corners are correct. Okay, the corners are going to be the most important parts of this shape. Now next I'm going to draw an arrow. Now I'm going to draw an arrow pointing upwards here. Okay, and this is going to help me to know when I have turned my shape 90 degrees. Okay, so now I'm pretty much ready to perform my transformation. All I need to do is I need to hold down the tracing paper on this point, the origin, where this cross is, okay, and spin the paper 90 degrees clockwise. Now, the reason I've drawn this arrow is because when it's 90 degrees clockwise, my arrow should be pointing this way. Okay, it should be pointing to the right. Okay, so for you, you're going to put your pencil on this point here, just like this. Okay, so as you can see here, I've got my tracing paper. I'm holding the tracing paper down at this point. I've got my arrow. I'm now going to spin this tracing paper around until this arrow is pointing to the right. Okay, so all you need to do now is just remove the tracing paper and draw your triangle in this position here. So you end up with a triangle down here. And just remember that the question's asked us to label this Q, so I'm just going to label this Q like that. Okay, so this second example, I'm asked to rotate this shape T by 180 degrees. But this time, it's not about the origin, it's about another point 1, 1. So again, I'm going to begin by labeling the point 1, 1. Now again, I'm going to get my tracing paper out. Okay, so now that I've got my tracing paper, I'm just making sure that my tracing paper not only covers my triangle here, but also my center here at 1, 1. So now I need to draw my arrow going upwards, and I also need to draw my shape on here. Okay, making sure to also mark the corners as well, because remember, these are going to be really important to draw in my shape. Okay, so now this is going to be exactly the same sort of situation as I've had before. I'm going to use my pencil to hold down the tracing paper at this corner here, at this cross. So holding down with my pencil, okay, I'm going to spin this shape. Now 180 degrees means that this arrow is going to be pointing downwards. So I'm going to spin my shape around my pencil like that until the arrow points downwards. And as you can see here, my triangle now sits on this little bit here, these coordinates here. So I'm just going to remove my tracing paper and draw in this triangle in this point here, and I'll end up with my shape down here like this. Now remember, this question is asking me to label this U, so I'm just going to label my triangle U. Okay, so hopefully that's helped you to perform rotation transformations. Remember to ask for tracing paper if you haven't already been given one, and make sure you do practice this because this is an examiner's favorite to do. Okay, well, good luck.